na na, Depetagong Radyo Eskwela na, na 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 na, Depetagong Radyo Eskwela na.
Hello viewers and listeners! Welcome to Teleradyo Eskwela Tara Na, the school on-air program of the Department of Education from the Division of Tagum City right here in Tagum City National High School's TV High. We would like to thank our official radio partner, Hope Radio 107.1 DXHS, where we are airing our episodes for junior high school. I am your teacher host, Mrs. April Irish B. Paalisbo, and today you will be learning about the concepts of prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells of animal and plant cells and their purposes. So, go get your modules, notebooks, and pens, and be comfortably seated wherever you are at home. To give us the discussion of today's topic, let me give you our teacher broadcaster, no less than Mrs. Annalisa A. Banggood.
Thank you, Ma'am April. Hello, our dear students. We are glad because despite the pandemic, we can continue learning through our Teleradyo Eskwela. Our learning objectives for this episode: A. Differentiate eukaryotic and prokaryotic cells. Letter B. Distinguish plant cells from animal cells. And C. Explain why the cell is considered as the basic unit of life. Learning the differences between the different types of cell can help us form a deeper understanding of how our body works. Seeing the purpose of each organelle allow us to acknowledge the intricacies of what makes organisms function. From your previous lesson, you already have knowledge about the cell and how it becomes the basic unit of life. However, you have not yet focused on the different classification of cells. Today, we will explore more about it in this session. Do not worry, it will be easy to tackle what makes them different from other types of cells. But let us first figure out what you know about our present topic. In your module, kindly turn to page 2 and let us answer together the first question of Let Us Try. Are you ready? Let us begin. What type of cell has a cell membrane? A. Animal cell. B. Plant cell. C. Neither. D. Both. If your answer is letter D, then you are correct. Both animals and plant cells have cell membranes. Now it is time for you to answer the rest of the questions and let us try on your own. You will be given 3 minutes. Do not worry. Once you finish this session, you will surely know the answer to these questions. Let us begin. Now, recalling your previous lesson, let us try and check if you can still remember the different hierarchies of life by identifying it based on the pictures found on Let Us Study on page 4. Place your answers in your answer sheets. This will be just quick. Once you are done, let us focus on the cell and what is in it. Cells have organelles. These organelles are like the members of a group project. Each member is unique and has a specific job to do for a group project. There are a lot of organelles that are present among different cells. These different cells may be the one of the two general types, either prokaryotic or eukaryotic cells. And it all depends on how they store their DNA. To help you identify these two types of cells, refer to page 7 and 8. of your module. You will find diagrams of two different cells. Describe the first cell and the second cell. Write your answers on your notebook. These descriptions will help you answer the table on page 8 and identify their characteristics. Now, what similarities and differences can you see between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells? I will give you time to think of it. Great! Now, let's move on along and learn about the plant and animal cells. Now that you have identified the difference between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells, let's focus on two types of eukaryotic cells, the plant cells and animal cells. If you could, kindly turn to page 9 and 10. There will be images of those two cells and some of their parts labeled. Have you ever wondered what sets apart these two types of cells? Well, these images can help answer your question and to easily know their differences and similarities. You can answer the table and questions on page 10 to see which organelles are present or absent on each cell. What organelles are present on both cells? How about organelles that are present only in animal cells? What about only on plant cell? Write your answer in your notebook. I will give you 5 minutes to do it. Now, let's try to learn more about other types of cells, especially ones that we can find in our body. If you turn to page 11, you will see a roster of cells. Let us ponder the following questions. Given the list of cells in Activity 3, pick 3 of them and give their functions to the human body. What do you think if one type of cell is not functioning well? Do you think it would affect the entire organism or not? Elaborate your answer. Do you think single-celled microorganisms could survive on its own? How and why do you say so? And lastly, do you believe that cells are the basic structural and functional unit of life? I would like you to explain your answers further. Good job! It is good that you are learning a lot about what makes our body work. Now, let us see what are the different organelles and their functions that I mentioned in the beginning of the session. As we have discovered from the previous activity, plant and animal cells have similarities and differences, one being the presence and absence of organelles. There are a lot of organelles, starting from the nucleus. Nucleus, or the control center of the cell. It is a very important part because it controls everything that occurs inside the cell, and it contains the genetic material. The plasma membrane, or known as the gatekeeper of the cell, acts like a barrier that allows the entry of certain materials and eliminates the unneeded ones. The cytoplasm is a jelly-like substance where all the parts of the cell are located, apart from where the nucleus is located. The cell wall, known as the supporter and protector of the cell. The cell wall is made of rigid materials that forms the outermost layer of the plant cell. Chloroplast is a food producer of a plant cell. It is a membranous sac that contains chlorophyll and other pigments. This is also the place where the photosynthesis occurs. Vacuoles are present in both plant and animal cells. However, they are evidently larger in plant cells than in animal cells, and responsible for storing nutrients and increasing cell size during cell growth. Centrioles. The centrioles can only be found in animal cells and is vital during cell reproduction. The Golgi body, along with its many names, the Golgi apparatus, the Golgi complex, is a membranous structure consisting of layers of flattened sacs used for processing and transporting proteins. They also known as packaging factory of the cell. The ribosome, the protein factory of the cell, or the site of protein synthesis. The endoplasmic reticulum, channel of the cell. It can be rough endoplasmic reticulum or smooth endoplasmic reticulum. The rough endoplasmic reticulum with ribosomes, the smooth endoplasmic reticulum without ribosomes. Next, the mitochondria, also known as powerhouse of the cell. Mitochondria, a rod-shaped body, known as powerhouse of the cell because it produces enzymes for metabolism. And last on, the lysosomes, which is membrane-bound cavity containing enzymes responsible for degrading and recycling molecules. Now, that was a lot. I am hoping that you were able to keep up with the help of your modules as a guide. Now let us try to summarize what you have learned so far. You learned that there are similarities and differences among plant and animal cells, and that there are organelles that are present and absent in plant and animal cells. You also learned that each cell is a unit of its own, having organelles that do certain tasks, and these cells are what responsible for the different functionalities in the body. Knowing all of that, we can say that a cell is the basic unit of life, because all living things are made up of cells. We are nearing the end of our module. Are you ready to assess your learning? Now, turn your module to page 15. Under Let Us Assess, let us answer the first question together. Are you ready? Let us begin. What type of cell has a cell membrane? A. Animal cell. B. Plant cell. C. Neither. D. Both. If you answered letter D, then good job! You got the right answer. It is time for you to answer the remaining questions on your own and see how much you have learned since the first activity. I will give you 5 minutes to answer. We are almost there. Now let us try to deepen our knowledge. Learning about stem cells or human health and disease would be wonderful, so read a short paragraph in page 17 and write a short essay, not less than 50 words, answering the question. What will happen if most of the cell organelles do not function correctly? And for the final activity, refer to page 18 and try to fill in the Venn diagram of what it requires. On the outside, labeled as plant cell and animal cell, put the characteristics that is only present in that cell, while put their similarities in the middle of the overlapping circles. Now that we are at the end of our session, I hope that you learned something from this episode today. And we hope that you remember this lesson in the future, as this will surely help you in your future years of education. With that, have a lovely day. Until next time, goodbye.
That was an insightful discussion, Ma'am Annalisa. Thank you for joining us and leading this discussion. To our listeners, the students, thank you for joining us, and we hope that you have learned something today. Stay tuned for more #scientific adventures. Keep safe, everyone, and have a great day ahead. Bye!
Na 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 na, Depetagong Radyo Eskwela na. Na 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 na, Depetagong Radyo Eskwela na. Halika na at makinig sa mga aral naming hatid. Saang sumulong ka man, kapatid, aabutin ka ng aming tinig.
Walang araw na sasayangin, edukasyon ipagpatuloy natin. Anumang pagsubok at mga balakid,
Kaalaman ay aming ihahatid.